Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Outer Rim Cantina. Today I'm here to talk about Star Wars Republic Commando. You know, that really awesome first-person shooter from 2005 that introduced us to Delta Squad and gave us so much awesome lore around the Clone Wars? Yeah, I'm talking about that one. That game was amazing, and pretty much everyone agrees with that. I recently played through the game again because I got a nostalgia itch for an awesome single-player Star Wars game in my favorite era of all time, the Clone Wars. Playing through it again for the first time in 3 or 4 years made all the memories of when I first played it way back when I was in middle school come flooding in. Republic Commando was one of the first Star Wars games I ever played, and it was the reason I became so invested in Star Wars lore, specifically around the Clone Wars. By the time I first played it, Star Wars The Clone Wars was in its 5th season. Sure, I loved the show as a kid and made sure to watch every episode the night it aired, but I didn't get truly invested into Star Wars lore until I played Republic Commando. That game, even though it had dated graphics and wasn't actually finished as the developers intended, was enough to make me into the Star Wars fan I am today. After playing through the story, I just had an itch to learn more about that time period in Star Wars, and specifically about Delta Squad and the other Clone Commando squads that were referenced in the game. It also gave me a different perspective on the clones of the Clone Wars TV show, like Captain Rex and Commander Cody. Basically, after playing through Republic Commando, it sent me down a rabbit hole to become completely obsessed about the lore around the Clone Wars era in Star Wars, and made me want to pick up and consume every piece of media I could get my hands on. That included the Republic Commando novel series by Karen Travis about the commandos of Omega Squad. That's a video for another time, of course, as this one is just about the video game, but the point is that Republic Commando was so much more than just a rushed, incomplete Star Wars shooter. With the increasing hype for Jedi Fallen Order, the first single-player Star Wars game we've gotten in years under the new Disney and EA license deal, I think the next single-player game we get should go back to the basics like Republic Commando. Even though the studio had to rush the game development, and only got to make 3 planets and a very cut-down story of what they originally intended, if we got a first-person shooter with a gritty war story set in really any era of the Star Wars films, with today's graphics and vast improvements in game design, I think it would truly bring the gamers that EA lost with their flop of Battlefront 2015, and even some with Battlefront 2, back into the Star Wars universe again. Of course, this doesn't have to happen under EA. When the contract is up for renewal, Disney could choose to contract multiple game studios, not just EA, to work on more Star Wars games, now that they've seen both what only having one studio working on games has done, and the demand for more Star Wars games, both in the multiplayer and single-player settings. I realize that Disney is mainly focused on fleshing out their new sequel trilogy storyline for the near future, but since they have scrapped all the expanded universe content around the prequel and original trilogy eras, they can make their own stories around the Republic Commandos, who are still canon thanks to their 5-second Delta Squad appearance in the Clone Wars show. It would be so cool to see another Republic Commando game, whether or not it's focused around Delta Squad, another Clone Commando squad, or not even in the Clone Wars at all, but set during the Galactic Civil War or the time of the Resistance and First Order. The beauty of the game came in its simplicity. It didn't have complicated character stats, skill trees, upgrades, gadgets, and everything else we've come to expect from AAA single-player games today. You just got thrust into the middle of one of the biggest galactic conflicts ever, with only a little bit of guidance and a blaster you could modify for the various types of enemies you encountered on your missions. Another thing that people ended up loving about the game was the level design. It was straightforward without feeling too linear. There were still areas to explore, but there wasn't a different side mission or thing to discover around every turn. Now, that could be in part to the developers having to rush the game, but the straightforward level design is honestly something I miss with single-player, and especially single-player shooter games today. Sure, it's nice to find little secrets behind a rock or in a tree or whatever, but sometimes I just want to play through a story without getting sidetracked at every turn. It's been a while since the last really great first-person single-player shooter game came out from a AAA studio, but there definitely is a demand for a game like that. And if EA or another studio wants to remake Republic Commando or spin off another story in a different era, I think that would bring back a lot of Star Wars gamers that have gotten away from the franchise through the lack of new games. But what do you guys think of Republic Commando? Do you like it as much as I do, or have you ever played it at all? I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments both about Republic Commando and whether or not you'd play a new single-player first-person Star Wars shooter. That's all the time I've got for this video. I'll see you guys back here in the cantina on Saturday for your weekly Star Wars news roundup. But until then, may the Force be with you.